Tomorrow morning, your phone won't turn on. There's no signal, no internet, and when you step outside, the sky is dark like something's terribly wrong. This isn't fiction. This is what could actually happen if Yellowstone erupts. You might think it's just a temporary power cut or maybe a local network issue, but soon you'll notice the silence, the kind that presses on your ears. Planes have stopped flying, shops are closed, there's no news, and the air smells burned. A strange gray powder is falling from the sky, coating your car, your clothes, your home. You try to reach someone, anyone, but everything is down. The streets feel abandoned. Grocery stores have already been raided, and within hours, panic spreads faster than the ash that's beginning to cover the entire country. This is not a movie scenario. This is the very real threat that scientists have warned about for decades. Because beneath Yellowstone National Park, beyond the geysers and wildlife, lies one of the most powerful ticking time bombs on Earth, a supervolcano with the potential to change life as we know it. This hidden monster sits on top of a magma chamber that stretches nearly 30 miles wide and over 10 miles deep, so massive it could fill the Grand Canyon multiple times. And it has exploded before, 3 times to be exact, once 2.1 million years ago, then 1.3 million years ago, and the last time 640,000 years ago. Each eruption was a global catastrophe. Now, some experts argue that Yellowstone isn't overdue, technically speaking, but what's happening underneath tells a different story. The ground is rising, volcanic gases are leaking, and tiny earthquakes are recorded almost every week. Quiet, too quiet. And that calm is what makes it so dangerous. If Yellowstone erupts again, it won't be like any other volcano you've seen. It won't be a lava flow slowly rolling down a mountain. It would be a violent explosion, a detonation powerful enough to tear through the Earth's crust. The ground around the park would fracture. Then, without warning, a column of ash, rock, and toxic gas would shoot over 20 miles into the atmosphere, higher than any plane you've ever flown in. Within seconds, everything within 100 miles would be destroyed. Towns like Bozeman, Jackson, and everything around them gone. But that's just the beginning. The real killer is the ash. Microscopic shards of volcanic glass would begin to rain down, spreading across the entire United States. You wouldn't even see it at first, but breathe it in and it will slice your lungs from the inside. Roofs would collapse under the weight of ash. Power plants would fail. Sunlight would be blocked. And cities hundreds of miles away, like Denver and Salt Lake City, would be buried in a gray, suffocating blanket within hours. All flights would be grounded. The air would become unbreathable. Hospitals would overflow. Emergency systems would fail. Millions would be forced to flee, but where would they even go? And then begins the food crisis. The American Midwest, known as the breadbasket of the world, would be hit hardest. Ash would poison the soil, kill crops, and clog irrigation systems. Sunlight would drop. Temperatures would fall. Farmers wouldn't be able to grow anything, not for weeks, maybe not for years. Supermarkets would run empty. Supply chains would break. Prices would skyrocket overnight. People would panic. Looting would begin. And the economy? It wouldn't just crash. It would collapse entirely. The United States would enter a national emergency unlike anything it has ever seen. But it wouldn't stop there, because the ash cloud, once it reaches the stratosphere, would begin circling the globe. Sunlight would be blocked worldwide. Temperatures would drop by several degrees. Entire climate systems would shift, and we would enter what scientists call a volcanic winter. This isn't just a theory. It's happened before. In 1815, when Mount Tambora erupted in Indonesia, the world experienced the infamous year without a summer. Crops failed across Europe. Snow fell in June. Famine followed. Millions died. But Yellowstone is potentially 10 times more destructive. Monsoon seasons in Asia could disappear. Rainfall in Africa could vanish. Massive droughts would follow. Global agriculture would collapse. And what began as a localized eruption in Wyoming would quickly become a global food and refugee crisis. And now the scariest part, can we stop it? At one point, NASA proposed an idea. Drill into the volcano and release the pressure slowly before it builds too high. But even they admitted that drilling could trigger the very eruption they were trying to prevent. So today, all we can do is monitor it. The U.S. Geological Survey tracks every tremor, every gas bubble, every shift in the Earth's surface. But despite all our satellites and technology, we still can't predict when it will erupt. If it gives us a warning, we may have days, or hours, or maybe no warning at all. Sometimes the ground in Yellowstone rises 6 inches in a year. Other times it's quiet, calm, peaceful. And that's the most dangerous thing of all. Because when Yellowstone finally wakes up, it won't just affect the United States. It will send shockwaves, literally and politically, around the world. And nothing will ever be the same again. If you feel that this video added even a little bit of value to your knowledge, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And hey, if you have any questions or thoughts on your mind, drop them in the comments below. We might pick your question for a future episode, so don't hold back.